Hey, welcome to another podcast with a client. My name's Luke John Harrison. I am sitting across with a client who actually just happens to be my cousin as well, Nicky Holloway. Now, Nicky is a software engineer. He's a husband. He's also a dog daddy to a wonderful little dog called Fifi. Yes.
Dog daddy.
Yes, dog daddy.
That
Yeah,
sounds
dog
annoying.
daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. You should get a collar or a tattoo saying dog daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be quite good.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, the reason why I do these podcasts, mate, is not just to invite clients who I get on with, obviously we're family as well, but also it's to push people to do something that's a little bit uncomfortable. Because as soon as I said this to you, you were like, I'm scared shitless, I'm not quite sure, I've never done anything like this before. And to be honest, I think everybody client that I've had on a podcast has never ever done it before. So I'm going to hit you off straight away with an uncomfortable question. Well, actually it might be comfortable, I don't know. When it comes to you as a person, what 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
Resilient is probably the first one.
Nice.
Do you want an explanation or just the word?
You can give an explanation if you like.
I've been very lucky with my upbringing. I know there's a lot of people that have had a lot worse lives than me, but I think any time I ever have had to deal with something bad, I think I respond to it well.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Reliable. I think most people in my life would say that.
Yeah.
That if they need me, I'm there for them. And
I would agree you're a man of your word. You do what you said you would do.
Yeah.
You are reliable, you're trustworthy, and that is a trait that is lacking massively in society now,
Definitely.
Unfortunately, because it's too easy to cancel, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's too easy to be flaky about things.
It's something I'm proud of, definitely.
Yeah, so you should be.
Like, it's a word you can use to describe yourself, but it's also something I'm proud of, I'd say. And calm.
Yeah, I would definitely say that.
Yeah. I know if I do get anxious, it can overwhelm me. So I think I've learned that from a very young age, that by staying calm and not letting things get to me that potentially they would do otherwise, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's why the way I am.
That's really good. And some people a lot of people I think would struggle to answer those questions. It would also always tend to gravitate to something more negative, which is, as we know, how we're mostly wired to talk about what's shit in our life and what we're crap at. It's very difficult sometimes to give yourself like a compliment or to pat yourself on the back, something that's lacking. And I think you do that very well.
Yeah.
Most people don't, but I do think it's to do with upbringing and society and social media and all the rest of stuff. But to keep this podcast positive to start, because we are going to go into the negative shit, but to keep it positive, what are you most excited about in your life right now?
Well, Newcastle just won a cup final.
So I hear. Now, I'm not into football, but I heard this was a bit of a big deal. The world went fucking nuts in the northeast, didn't it?
Yeah, I was drenched in beer. Other people were drenched in my beer. I must have kissed 18 men. And it wasn't even that,
Yes.
wasn't even that
All
kind
right,
of
okay.
night, to be honest, and it just ended up that way. So that was obviously fantastic. Travelling. I've got a lot of trips planned this year.
Nice.
It's always nice to just have something. Life can be quite overwhelming. So when you've always got like something that you're looking forward to, that's great. And moving house.
Yeah,
It's like a
nice.
big
Lot
chapter.
going on. Going on. So tell me, because you train with me now 5, 6, 8 mornings a week.
Yeah.
You live locally, more or less. You're only 25 minutes down the road.
Yeah.
But you train mostly online with us, right? On Zoom. So you get up in the morning, you train from your living room. Tell me a little bit about how that's positively impacted your life.
Routine. It's massive. Although getting up early is a challenge, I think it helps with sleeping. It creates like a solid sleeping pattern, especially now that I do the 6 days. Like, you've ruined any chance of me having a lie-in on a Sunday. 'Cause I'm lucky if I'm up past 7 a.m.
But you get more done, right?
Oh,
you never
yeah.
regret getting up early, do you?
Yeah. I do the most in the morning. Always have done. So to get up early makes a huge difference. I start work early, means I can finish work early. That's huge and key to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I'm quick firing some random questions here, but I think they're all quite relevant. When you think of successful, who comes to mind and why?
I wouldn't say one person, to be honest. Like, everyone in my life, I think I look at and they're successful in their own way. Like, I fill my life with positive people. It's something you learn as you grow old. There's people in your life that aren't good, and over time you've slowly been able to just remove them. I think everyone in my life has been successful in their own way. It's nice to see. So I find it difficult to think of one person, because it's easy to think of people that have made loads of money or people that have got all this or whatever. I don't look at those things. I just look at people winning every day and doing what they're doing. That's pretty key for me. So that's what I see, definitely.
Nice. You've got a great attitude. What do you think? Where do you think that attitude came from? Because obviously you were not born with that attitude. Do you think it's been more parenting? Do you think it's been societal, cultural? Do you think it's been an influence of your friendship circles? Where do you think that positive, optimistic attitudes came from? Do you think it's a culmination? Like, talk to me about that.
All of it.
All of it?
I've got 2 fantastic parents, extended step parents from that, all of which are incredibly supportive. I wouldn't say they all have the same mindset as me, but I definitely think that's helped towards that.
Yeah.
I think reaching low points helps. Realizing what you want and actually going for that. So I feel negativity hits me really hard, so I can't have it in my life.
Yes.
So that's why it's really key for me that when I see things that are negatively impacting me, I'll either try and resolve them or just remove them from my life.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that's taken a while. And yeah, friends. I'd say all my friends are the same. We're all just very positive people. Just want to enjoy life. Don't look for the negatives.
That's a powerful place to be, and a good thing to remember actually, because if negativity is one of them things that like drains the life out of you, scares you, like it should, but most people get actually attached to it because it makes them feel significant.
Some
and makes them
thrive
feel
on it.
They thrive on drama. Yeah. And but the thing is, I look a little bit compassion whenever I see people who are what we'd call negative or completely, some people would say toxic, although it's kind of a perception really. But I do think that the reality is these people don't really have much to be excited about, so they'll create excitement through drama and negativity. But obviously, as we know, if you've got things to look forward to and you're planning these things in your life, you'll have a better quality of life, right?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think I'm the same as you. Like, I don't dislike people that are constantly negative or whatever. It's the same. I feel pity towards them almost, that they have an inability to get out of that, because it's a good place to be in.
So, talk to me about, we touched on low points. Before you joined TST, because you've been training with me now, like, nearly 2 years?
2.5 now, I think.
Yeah? Over, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So, before you joined, what would you say would be your lowest point? Because as we know, like, the exercise has had, obviously, a dramatic impact mentally, not just physically, in terms of losing weight and getting fit, because that's what everybody thinks. But, like, mentally, what was your lowest point, do you think, before starting?
Not long before I started with you, I'd kind of had to restart my entire life a bit. I'd moved back to the northeast. I'd changed jobs. I was looking for somewhere new to live. I was living with my mum not long before that. And although none of those things are bad things, a lot of it came around COVID. It gave me the opportunity to do that, and I felt like I needed to do it. I would struggle to regulate my life. It would just be ups and downs of like really positive highs, because that's the kind of thing that I like. And then just unable to sort of get away from the negatives of it, stressing over work, stressing over completely irrelevant things that just I don't need to stress over. I'm quite lucky in the life I've got. And that's the key thing, is just being able to deal with those things, I think. I wouldn't say I'd be able to put my finger on how or why like doing this kind of thing has helped with that. There's multiple reasons, but that's key for me, just the ability to manage that. Doing hard things, you say it all the time, like once you've done hard things, when hard things come at you that you haven't chosen to do, you find them easy to deal with. You'd be more resilient towards them, which I think is something I've always had, but it's helped.
What role do you think physical fitness has on your mental strength?
Massive. You can just see it. Like, generally the most successful people, if you were to go by sort of public perception of success, they tend to be physically fit. They tend to value that as something. Never know for certain what someone's actually like, but for me, the most positive people in my life are the ones that do a lot of regular exercise. There's obviously loads of science behind it. You talk about it all the time. I don't really care about that kind of stuff. I just recognize that it's true and correct, and I just go with that. This morning, for example, I did not want to get up, but after 2.5 years, I was just like, I'd not slept well. I was just absolutely knackered, but I was just like, even if I go and put even 40% in, I'll be happy that I've done it. And that's massive, that mindset. I never really used to have that. I was so intermittent with going to the gym. I could go solidly for 3 months and then get bored and go like once a week or whatever. That's been massive. That I know I'll just get up.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that because that's a mindset that I thrive on trying to teach people, and obviously I've ingrained it into you alongside other people, is not every day is perfect. Not every day is 10 out of 10. Not every day is an amazing day or an amazing morning. Not every day you sleep well. Not every day you've got the energy, but you turn up regardless. Like, because it's easier to keep up than catch up, right?
Yeah.
So you've just said you come in even if you do 40% effort. That's good enough.
Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how we put these unrealistic expectations and standards on myself? Like, we'll have to do 10 out of 10. If we can't do it all to the best of our ability, we might as well do nothing at all. Because you hear the advice, if you're not going to do 110% effort, don't do nothing at all or whatever. Like, and it's just fucking bullshit. So how do you think you changed your mindset on that? Because obviously you probably used to be like that, like smashing it for months and then like, oh, I can't do it all this week, so I'll do fuck all. Like, how would you, like, what advice would you give to people who are all or nothing people? Because I talk about this all the time. But I like the philosophy of little and often. Like, doesn't matter what it is, just be doing something, turning up. Yeah. How did you specifically shift that mindset in yourself?
I think a key thing is to reduce in your life the things that can negatively impact you significantly.
Yes.
There's a lot of things you've got no control over. Partner illness, family illness, death, anything like that. There's a lot of things that you've got no control over that will likely impact you in life. And that's where, like, personal resilience comes in. But if you choose to have loads of optional negative things in your life that are going to be consistently draining you and all that kind of stuff, then you're more likely, and I think that's what it was something would happen in my life and I was just like, and then I would allow that to impact it. I wouldn't maybe have seen the benefit of continuing anything to do with my actual physical or mental health, and I'd just be like, oh no, I'll just close off. And it would be things like that. I'd say that's quite key. Just doing it. Like, I've been saying for a while now, I'm going to do a 5K, and then on Saturday just gone, I did one, and my time was horrific. It was painful. I came out of it, and I know for a fact if I'd done that a few years ago, I'd be like, that was dreadful, I'm not going to do another one. Whereas now I've used it, that's a base, that's somewhere to start from. Like, don't care about my time. First off, it's just like, just do it. I've just done it now. So then the next aim is like, do it without stopping or walking for part of it, which is what I did. And then cool, once I've done that, then the next one, then the next one. Whereas previously I'd be like, cool, okay, if I'm going to do a 5K, it's got to be sub 28 minutes. Like, I've looked at all the averages for people my and all that kind of stuff, and it's just like, that stuff doesn't matter.
Yes.
That can be a goal in a year or 6 months or whatever.
Yes. Yeah. You've turned a milestone there massively, because most people could never do that. It's always like the perfectionists are all nothing people. They have this idea. The Great North Run, for example, must be under 2 hours. Like, who created the fucking 2 hour number? Yeah. The fact that you've even just walked that much is a fucking magnificent goal. Yeah. You know, obviously you want to be able to run it, you want to be able to jog it, you want to be able to race it, you want to be able to beat your time, all this rest, but it's not the necessarily the perfection that's going to make you happy. It's who you're becoming along this process. Like you've just said, the mindset of just being able to show up, just being able to be all right with, I'm not bothered about my time, just want to get it done. Yeah. Just get it done. That's what people's problem is, they're overthinking things. So what would you say is the antidote? Now again, I don't think there's any wrong answer for this. You've got your own perspective on it. What's the antidote to overthinking and overanalyzing? Someone came to you and said, Nicky, you know what, like, let's say it's a friend who's struggling a bit, and they're like, Nicky, I've been overthinking this all the time, I've been overanalyzing, like, I just feel really stuck with it. What advice would you give them?
I think bigger picture's pretty important, taking a step back, and like, I think quite often when you become too focused on something, it's easy to become obsessed by it. When you take a step back, you realise maybe it's not quite as important as you think, or it's not as significant because of the outside aspects. I think that's quite key, having a whole picture. Like, rather than just the one isolated thing. Yes. That's probably what I'm quite good at. Just taking a step back and seeing the wider picture. Yeah, like, in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really matter. And to be frank, and people won't like this, is that nobody really gives a shit. Nah. Like, that's the truth. Like, if you get a sub fucking hour and a half Great North Run, nobody really gives a shit. Nah. Like, you go and lift the heaviest weight you've ever lifted in your life and do something incredible and it gets an award. Nobody really gives a shit. You'll get a few applause. Yeah. You might get a few likes on your post, but then that's it. They'll just move on to something else. Yeah. Or if you don't do something and you don't achieve, nobody really gives a shit. Like, the person who cares the most is you. Yeah.
But we spend so much time and attention on caring what other people think of us.
Yeah.
It's like the 10 most deadliest words. What would other people say? What would other people think?
Yeah.
That's like a massive stumbling block for people, isn't it?
That's something I've learned a lot. I wouldn't say I've cut out caring entirely what other people think.
Oh,
but
no.
I used to care about what the wrong people thought. Whereas now it's just like I've got key people in my life. I care about what they think. In reality, so long as I've not upset them, it also doesn't really matter if I do something that they don't like. But
Yeah.
like, that's more important to me, is like caring about what the right people think, rather than just everyone. Like, because usually the people that care about what you're doing aren't good people. They're looking for you to fall down so that they can mock you for it or take the mick or whatever. Sometimes in like a funny friendship way, but the people that do it the worst, just stopping caring what they think's massive.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It stops you in your tracks. So here's a question for you. What's the worst advice that you've heard recently being spread around? Maybe not recently, just at any point, really. What do you think's the worst advice?
I think there's two aspects of the way people like live their life. There's people that are too focused on the now that they don't plan enough, and people that plan too much. And for me, I think those two things, I think that's something I'm quite good at. I used to plan too much. Which I would say was a bad trait, because I wasn't enjoying now enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I found a balance between the two, where it can be with anything, time, money, whatever it is. Don't like use all your time now, use all your money now, but also don't use none of it now because you're planning for your future.
Yeah.
Like there's a balance for that. And like you look at some people and it's just like, put all your money in your pension right now because you're going to need it when you whatever, and it's just like, well, you could be dead.
Yeah.
But then you might not be.
Yeah.
So if you don't put any of it in right now, then so when I listen, and there's just too many people with opinions, that just, and they're so strong with it, especially when it comes to gym stuff. I think like everyone's like, oh, you see all these videos, oh, you've got to lift this exact way, and if you don't lift this exact way, it's not going to work. In reality, for someone like me and 90% of people that will train, it will maybe make 0.1% of a difference, and so it doesn't matter. But then people get too wrapped up in that kind of stuff, and then because they've not done it perfect, then they maybe give up or lose motivation or whatever. And it's just like, it's what you keep saying, just turn up, do something, maybe try and get better at it, of course, but like don't get too wrapped up in that side of stuff. There's just too many people with strong opinions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the old thing of I'll be happy when.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's most people, when I retire, when I've got £1 million in the bank, when I win the lottery, when I've invested my money in 35 years later, when my mortgage is paid off, then I'll be happy. Like, I'll be happy when I've lost the weight is one that we hear all the time as well. But in reality, when you're happier in yourself, these things will start to happen. But you can't be happier in yourself by restricting everything. But likewise, you can't be happier in yourself by indulging too much at the same time and blowing everything and going all in and expecting the next year to be amazing and the next 30 or 40 years to be shit.
Yeah.
Like, so you've got to find that balance. Like, you think it's a funny conversation, balance, isn't it? Because a lot of people have different ideas on work-life balance, emotional balance. Like, you know, the word, but everyone says you need to find the balance. So you seem to have done it pretty well because you still enjoy a drink every now and again. You still enjoy going to gigs. You still enjoy your meals out and stuff like that. But you train 6 days a week. You do your regular exercise routine. You're doing well with that. You've got a professional career. You've got a family. So what's your idea of balance, and what's your advice on the balance of life, the balance of health, the balance of work, life, etc.? What advice would you give on that?
Don't always take the easy option. There's definitely one. I think it can be the same with your job. It's very easy to, at first, if you're taking it easy at work and nobody notices, things like that, then you feel like you've achieved something because you're just hiding or whatever. That becomes boring and you can stagnate very, very quickly. So in terms of work, like, I will always give the absolute utmost that I can. But I'm very clear when I'm looking for a job that when I'm not there, like, that's it. Like, I like to be important at work in the hours I'm there. I like to be key and central to things that are going on, but I don't want to take that home. I've had things when jobs when that happen, whether it's mentally or actually because you relied on. I think that's really important. Doing things you want at least once a week. Like, make sure you've got something planned that you want to do.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be anything significant. Whatever. My key thing is just headphones in the park with my dog.
Yeah.
On my own.
Yeah.
Wait for my coffee shop to open, get on from there, and just go from there. I think find the things that gives you like time to reflect and be calm, and then having the right people in your life, doing the right things.
Yeah.
Like, everyone that I spend time with in whatever context it is, I want to be with those people, and it's key.
Yeah. It's pretty basic advice to feel happier in yourself, isn't it? It's very simple, it's very basic, but it's hard. And like you say, you can't always choose the easy option. It's too easy to choose that now. The life's too convenient, but yet we have less time, which is weird. But it's true. We can always get the one clicks and the drive-throughs and the easy scrolling, and we don't even have to choose what to watch now. It will tell us, but it will give us too many options that we feel overwhelmed, and we end up not making decisions as a feeling of too much pressure, overwhelmed, too much information. Yeah. We struggle with dopamine levels and all the other hormones that are positive right now, and it does get a bit difficult to navigate that balance side of things, which is absolutely true. So I'm going to ask you a little bit more about TST, which is obviously the program run by myself that you've been a part of for quite a while now.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about, over 2 years, you've been dedicated to your health. You've had consistency, structure, routine. We've talked about the lowest points. I'm just curious, how did you... Obviously, I know that we're family, we're cousins, but when you first heard about what I do, because sometimes family can be like the most critical, in fact, like of what people are doing and things like that, or...
like Granda.
Yeah. But yeah, exactly. But like they can, and they can like not understand it, and then it also sometimes it's actually more of a barrier for your family to work together. Because you are a paying client as well, but you pay because you know you'll value it more, and you'll do it properly, and you know it's a mutual exchange of energy, etc. So you get from me what you'll put in, etc. And likewise. So how did you find that the sort of mindset shift of what TST was, from coming from just sort of whatever you did before, whether it was like the odd bit sport, maybe a bit running, something like that, to developing this routine that you've done now? What were your kind of reservations? What were you kind of thinking at the start? Were you sort of like apprehensive? Like, were you like, I'm not sure what this is, but whether I could do that, whether that's a load of shit, like, and you can be brutally honest here.
I think there's a massive one, and I think it is the biggest hurdle to overcome. It's financial outlay.
Yeah.
I would never ask you, charge me less because we're family.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not something that's in my mindset whatsoever. So like, financial outlay is massive.
Yeah.
But then it's all about what's it worth. What's it worth to you? So like, I've done the £13 a month gym. I've done a gym where I was paying about £90 a month, and I remember at the time thinking, that was quite pricey. And there was a period of time where I got quite a lot out of it, and then I didn't. And then so that's key. I've seen the impact you had with my brother. Like, obviously he's second longest client, so I've always seen that over time. Obviously I was in Edinburgh for so long. I think it was never really an option before you had the Zoom offering. Once I knew you had that, it's key. And the financial outlay for me, it's nothing. Like, you talk about it all the time, and it's something that always sounds so stupid. And I still have this conversation now with people 10, 20 years older than me when I talk about this, and it's just like, but it's X amount. And it's just like, I have regularly spent that on a night out.
Yeah.
And achieved I've had a good night.
Yeah.
Of course I have. Maybe not remembered parts of it or whatever, but like that financial outlay, it's easy. It's an easy choice. It's such a huge part of my life, the structure of it, and I also think that gives me and my mindset an element of accountability. I think when you have something that is not where you've not paid as much for it or whatever, you don't care as much if you're going to skip one. My mindset, because I can be quite financially driven sometimes, is just like, it's like you've put the commitment in with that. But all that stuff I don't even think about anymore. It's just not even a second thought now. I think sometimes it's difficult to understand what it is you do until you actually do it.
Yeah. So what would you say has been to help people understand a little bit more, who could be watching this as an outcast or have a little dipped in and out towards like fitness or myself or whatever, what top 3 results would you say that you've achieved since starting TST online with me that would make other people stand up and take attention and think, fuck, I want that? What would you say that you've achieved personally?
To be regularly doing 5 to 6 workouts, whatever it is, a week for me is massive.
Yes.
I'd say it's so easy to have erratic workouts.
Oh, yes.
That's massive. And like, because I do the strength training as well, sometimes 6 days does feel a little bit too much. My entire left arm's hurting after yesterday quite a bit. So that was part of the reason this morning was a bit of a challenge, and I was taking parts of it easy. But that's massive. That's not even like a fitness or a mental thing, really. That's just part of life that for me is massive.
It's a life win, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
for people to be training more days of the week than not on the regular for several years is massive.
Yeah.
Like, doing hard things every day just makes your life easier. And everyone would love to be on track with their fitness because it means they can eat more, drink more, indulge more without as much of a negative effect, right?
Yeah.
So what else would you say you've had as a result that would make people stand up and pay attention?
A better recognition of food.
Oh, lovely. Tell me about that.
I think I definitely, with a different diet, could have lost more weight than I have, or potentially put on more muscle. But now I've got an understanding of like, cool, if I stick to what I want 5 days a week, I don't mind as much the other 2 days, but I'm a bit more in control of it. But like being able to track protein, different sort of understanding of where my calorie count should be if I want this or that, and sort of keeping in control of that's been pretty massive. It's just ingrained into me. A lot of the time I don't even really need an app for it. It's good. It's definitely good to have the data, and I quite often do, but more just like looking at something and knowing the impact of it. I think there's been multiple times, not any time recently, that Beth and I would have been like, we're ready to cook a meal and we can't be bothered because one of us had a tough day at work or whatever, and we've ordered a takeaway and it's been thoroughly disappointing. Yeah. And that kind of gets to us because it's just like, what a waste. Yeah. What a waste of all, like, I could have had a lovely meal for half the calories, that was less money and all that kind of stuff. And that understanding's quite key when you realize just how bad that stuff is for something that was disappointing. I'll quite happily go and have X amount of pints and a curry and it's been 5,000 calories, and I won't really care that much about it because I know for a fact I've done what I've wanted to do all week and I've thoroughly enjoyed what that is. And it's understanding that. That's important.
That's a beautiful thing for most people, is understanding that they don't have to give up their favourite foods. They don't have to go on a strict, completely calorie, massively dense deficit diet in order to lose weight and feel good. They need to be in deficit, of course, over the period of time, but you could still have a curry and a couple of pints on a Saturday night and still lose weight and still be in shape and still enjoy the process, which is beautiful. So I guess you could say you've probably been a bit more educated on that side of things, which is always useful. I think it's been, a little over a year now I've been doing the strength training, and I'm now lifting the heaviest. I've like I said, I've gone through phases, so there has been periods in the past where I have been quite strong. I'm now lifting more than I ever have before. And like I said, I've got a bit of an arm strain at the minute because I think we maybe went a little bit too far on one of the exercises yesterday, but I'm glad I did it because I've got a video of it. But like, other than that, I tend not to feel the muscle strain anymore. It's just, I understand the slow increments between yourself and Graham. It's just like, sometimes I'm like, I could definitely do more, but I'll be crippled for 4 days if I do that. And then it won't have had the impact from it. That's a good thing because you're controlling your ego there, which is massive. Again, that's another huge win. Like, we talk about stacking wins. For some people, that could be a life changer by not getting hurt. By the longevity, saying, I don't need to go as heavy or as hard. I don't need to batter, if they're a runner, I don't need to batter the pavement 6 days a week for 4 hours. Like, you might get better use out of like 20-minute hill sprints 2-3 times a week and a little bit strength training. Or if you're a weightlifter, you don't need to deadlift or bench that much. Just move and just feel good, man. That's what it's about. It's what people forget about. People just mostly want to take a video and post it online, and I used to be in that category as well. I still post stuff of us training because obviously I'm a coach. I like to say, look, I'm in shape. I practice what I preach. Some of it's heavy, some of it's not, but it's about progress, not perfection. It's a big thing I live my life by now. What would you say is now if you had to come us into either a phrase or a word, you know what mine is: movement is medicine, health is wealth is my philosophy. do you adopt that exact same one, or would you have your own philosophy on fitness now? If you had to say it in a sentence or a phrase, what would you say?
Consistency. It's just, I'm not a big key phrase person. I think to a certain extent things like live, laugh, love have absolutely killed quotes.
You mean I shouldn't go to B&M and get all my stuff?
No, I think it is good. I like yours. They do drill. They're simple and they just sort of get straight to the point, and I think that's really helpful.
Yeah.
But for me, it's just, the biggest thing for me is consistency. I don't care as much about results anymore. As long as I'm doing something, and then every now and then I can set a target for myself and go for that. But as long as I'm doing something, then I know I'm going to be happy.
Nice.
I know I'm going to be healthy.
Nice. You've said something great there, which I've just picked up on, is that you don't really care too much about results. That's some people's problem. It's just it has to be that weight on the scale or I'm not happy. I have to be in this dress size. I have to be in that jean size. I have to look this way or I'm not happy. Like, you just enjoy the process, right? You're a living example of just, you turn up, no matter what happens, even if you've had a rough night, you've only had 40%, like we've talked about, you just turn up and get it done. That's fucking admirable, mate. It really is. It's an admirable trait. And if more people adopted that into that lifestyle, it'd be amazing. It's like the people who say, I'm not on my diet this week. What the fuck? Like, you might not be on the diet like this day or this hour. Just have some fucking fruit later on. Like, have something healthy. It's me. Oh, well, I'll start on Monday. But it's Wednesday fucking morning. Like, that's the approach though, isn't it? Well, I'll do it all. Just do a bit. Like, if you ate shit today, you'd probably go, you know what, tomorrow I'm just going to make sure I've got some more healthy food in.
Yeah.
So if I don't get to the gym today, I'll get there tomorrow. It's not like it has to be Monday, right?
Yeah.
So you've adopted this amazing attitude. So I'm going to ask you one final question, mate. Who would TST be perfect for?
Honestly, anyone. Because I think sometimes, especially with marketing and stuff, it's easy to try and pick like certain groups or individuals that are in certain states or anything like that. But like, you've got all age ranges. I think one of the very first nights out we had, I can't even remember who it was, had said that he felt he was getting too old for TST, and this was over 2 years ago, and he's still here now and still got loads of wins and things like that. So that mindset's obviously changed, because that's not a thing. It doesn't really matter. You've got men, women, unbelievably physically fit people, people that are right at the start of their journey, things like that, people that mentally are in the absolute perfect place but they just want to improve their physical health, or people the other way around. That I think I wouldn't narrow it down to one person. I've had conversations with people at work in different positions with their mental health or physical health, and I've suggested it, and it's the same challenge that you have. It sometimes falls on deaf. It's like, why would you do that? Oh, I've got to get up too early for that, or this or that. And it's just ideas there. Like, I will speak highly of it, and there's multiple other people that would as well. Yeah. It's like trying to get someone into rehab. They'll only go when they want to go. Really.
Well, yeah, that's so, true, man.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not going to force it on anyone, but it's there isn't anyone I wouldn't suggest it to. Yeah, really.
Nice. That's good, and that's a nice thing to say, because it kind of, I think physical fitness and health is so diverse, but I think what we have here is very diverse and different, and it's adaptable for most people. Yeah. And what people's first port of call is when anything new or hard or unique comes up, it's always, that's probably not me. And whereas most people, that's just an ego problem. Usually it's just like, you've got to be willing to be shit at the start. If you're unfit or you've never done fitness before, guess what, it's going to be pretty sucky at the start. It's going to be a bit shit.
Well, it never gets easy.
Yeah, but you just get better.
Yeah,
that's the thing. But that's the good humility of it, is like, you don't have to have an ego for it. Ego helps to push you and drive you in certain ways, and you can challenge yourself and say, right, I'm going to get better at this. That's a positive side of it. But on the other side, it's like, oh, I couldn't do that because I'll look stupid. I'll be the fattest there. I'll never be able to keep up. I'm too old for this shit. Old Danny Glover fucking... That's Lethal Weapon, isn't it? Yeah. I'm too old for this shit, yeah. But like I say, we've got lads in their 60s. We've got...
Some of them are the fittest ones as well.
Exactly, I know, because they've just applied it. We've got lads in that 40s, 3, 4, 5 stone overweight. We've got lads in that late 20s who are spring chickens, but like, it's a bit of all sorts. That's why it makes it so fucking hard for me to market sometimes, because I'm like, I can kind of take on anyone. I have a little bit of a sub-genre niche, but like, what I do is accessible, and I like helping anybody that is willing to be helped. And like you've said, they need to be ready. They need to be ready and willing. Nicky, thank you. That's been amazing. I really appreciate having your time, and I'm sure this will inspire a lot of people. Cheers, brother. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
If you'd like to learn how to create outstanding levels of energy, motivation, and self-control, my second book, Supercharged, the modern day guide to doing exactly that, is out now.